Aloha, my name's Robin Brandt, and I'm the director of a program for peer mentoring with adults with traumatic brain injury. We're very lucky this evening to have a number of people here to talk about employment after sustaining a traumatic brain injury. And on my far right, I'd like to introduce Val Yamada. Val? Val was a psychiatric nurse before her injury.
Yeah.
And this is Greg Lee.
Hi.
And Greg was a server in a very upscale restaurant at the time of his injury. And we're very grateful this evening to have a vocational rehabilitation supervisor with us, Diane Sakamoto.
Glad to be here.
Great. So we're going to go into a couple of slides to talk about what kind of research is out there about serving people with traumatic brain injury after they have in terms of finding employment after a traumatic brain injury. And one of the compelling things that I saw when I was reading this report from Rehabilitation Service Administration at the federal level is it says that every person with a brain injury has two selves, who I am now and who I used to be. Does that sound about right, Val?
Yes, I think so.
You have to, okay. And the next slide talks a little bit about the need to reconcile those two different parts of your life. It says that these two selves need to be reconciled before that person can move on to achieving success vocationally or otherwise. We were talking a little bit before the program started about the fact that that's really true. Diane, did you have any thoughts on that?
I agree with that from what I've seen.
Mm-hmm. So you really need to see who you are and also accept who you used to be, bring them together in order to start creating new goals with the new person.
Mm-hmm.
Does that sound about right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. I think we had a couple more slides that we wanted to take a look at as well. It says that only a small fraction, 5 to 6% of the people who sustained a brain injury are served by vocational rehabilitation services. Let's think about that for a minute in terms of Hawaii vocational rehabilitation. In Hawaii, in 2009, there were over 10,000 people who were either seen in an emergency room or hospitalized for traumatic brain injury. Now, in the peak years, the recent last 10 years, about 2007 or so, the peak years for vocational rehabilitation to serve people, they were serving over 8,000. So can you imagine what it would be like to have 10,000 people more on top of that, basically?
They're welcome to come seek services, though.
That's
Really?
a great attitude.
No, really, that's what we're there for.
Uh-huh.
So we serve 9,000 in a year and of different types of disabilities. But we want to serve the traumatically brain injured too.
Yeah, okay. But that kind of puts it in perspective that only a small portion of those folks actually seek services from vocational rehabilitation. Okay. The success rate, the last slide talks about the success rate. Not everyone returns to work after they've had a traumatic brain injury. It might take maybe an average of 7 years for people with a brain injury to kind of rehabilitate. So the slide's telling us that, or the research is telling us that after 1 year, maybe half the people with the brain injury return to work. And after 10 years, maybe 80%. But that still leaves 20% that will not return to work. And in many instances, it might not be the same kind of work.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's go into some questions. Val and Greg, I want to ask you some questions about your experience.
Sure.
Oh, great. Val, what was your job before you were injured?
I was a psychiatric nurse in a local hospital.
Great. And what happened?
I was injured by one of the clients that knocked me down. So I hit my head against the um, pillar at work.
Mm-hmm.
So I had passed out little while, and by the time I woke up, I didn't know what had happened.
Uh-huh. Okay. And Greg, what happened to you? How were you injured?
I fell off a freeboard, which is a skateboard that simulates the motion of a snowboard.
Oh.
Yeah. It has bindings for your feet. And I was just riding around my friend's house down a hill, which was rough. And then I fell down, and I wasn't wearing a helmet.
Mm.
But I'm fortunate because the doctors asked my family to consider taking me off life support. And I know that God was with me. And I'm so glad to be alive.
Great. Thanks for sharing that. So there's a lot of ways that people can sustain a brain injury,
Yes.
right? Mm-hmm. Did you have to relearn things after your injury, Val?
Yes, because also what had happened was I had a stroke that paralyzed the right side of my body.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to learn all over again, eating and walking and use of my left hand because my right side had been paralyzed, and it's still, I'm still working on rehab for the right
Mm-hmm.
hand.
Now, are you having to pay for your rehab at this point?
No, the rehab, the physical therapy is covered through my medical because I had gotten injured at work.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And Greg, after your injury, did you need to relearn things?
Yes. Well, I was in a wheelchair when I got my accident in 2007.
Mm-hmm.
And through hard work, perseverance, and training from my dad,
Mm-hmm.
who works with me every day, I'm able to walk now for 2 years.
All right. Val, you were in a wheelchair for a while too, weren't you?
Yes, about 3 years.
Okay. So that's a common thing for you folks, but not for everyone. Did you notice the difference in yourself after your injury? Let's start with you, Val.
Well, the most I noticed for the behavior part was I easily get tired.
Mm.
Even to go to the therapy, they would try to work on therapy morning, and I would have a break and then do another part in the afternoon because the body gets easily tired.
Okay. Was that different than before your injury?
Yes. Before injury, I was in nursing, which is also a very fast-paced working, and working in nursing, you work long hours. But
Right.
now to do one task, will take me several hours just to do a simple task.
Thanks for bringing that up, Val. How has life changed for you in terms of getting things done and doing things, Greg?
Well, I need assistance on a lot of daily activities. Like time to get up
Mm-hmm.
and start my day.
Mm-hmm. That's a real difficult thing for a lot of folks with brain injuries.
Yes.
One of the reasons we have our meetings afternoon for Hooikaika is because many of the members have difficulty getting up and functioning in the morning. And when most of us go to work, we're expected to start around 7, 8, 9. It's almost impossible to do that, isn't it?
Right. And like for mine, a lot of the medications, you know, they give you to calm down the nerve. It does make you tired too. So beyond the physical activity that changes is, you know, also the medications make you change too.
Good point, Val. Good point. And I know when I'm speaking to you, Greg, it takes that little minute to gather your thoughts
Yes.
before you speak. And that's probably different than before.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Well, how has it affected your return to work? How's your brain injury affected your return to work?
Well, for most part, I know that I will not be able to go into the type of nursing that I was doing before. But, you know, I still am trying to learn different things. Like I have gone through computer training to use equipment that will help me speak into a microphone to type into a computer.
So you use naturally speaking, and it types in for you. You don't have to manipulate it with your fingers.
Yes.
Okay. And Greg, how has your injury affected your return to work?
Well, I haven't found a job yet, but I'm looking forward to getting my degree in physical therapy so I can work at the rehab hospital in Pacific.
It's great that you've
I was
got a
actually
goal.
patient there.
All right. That's great that you've got a goal like that.
Yeah.
Val, do you have a goal?
Right now, my goal is just get little bit more use out of my right hand. You know, I've worked. It took me about a year now to get the foot control a little bit better for walking. So I'm able to walk further distance using cane. But you know, my goal is for the use of the right hand little bit more function.
Great.